Real quick before this video starts, if you like what I do, if this is not your first time on the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and dinging that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. And if this is your first time here, enjoy. Overrated. What is overrated? What do we consider to be overrated? When does a quarterback get to be determined to be overrated? It's a term we throw around a lot, but it's a term with others we don't throw around a lot. There might be some of you who saw the thumbnail and the title of this video and you're angrily typing out your response in the comment section down below without even hearing what the point of this video is. And you are the exact type of person that probably needs to hear this. Because it doesn't matter if your favorite quarterback is overrated or underrated. Let's talk about it. See, in the NFL, it's funny because some NFL quarterbacks can have one stretch of bad games without having to deal with overwhelming criticism. Like some QBs, it feels like we can't wait to label them as overrated. We will throw out all of their past accomplishments in a heartbeat. We will tell you every reason why these guys' accomplishments don't matter, right? In an instant, in a 3-game stretch, an entire career is thrown out the window. Guys like Baker Mayfield, like Cam Newton, and like Lamar Jackson definitely fall into this category. Because when these guys are playing well, people generally don't have anything bad to say. But the second there's a little bit of a bump in the road, then here it comes. Throw out everything. Cam Newton, Heisman Trophy winner, league MVP. He gets injured and struggles to come back, and then suddenly his whole legacy is questioned, and his starting job is at question by a dude that nobody knew about when Cam Newton won his MVP. Baker Mayfield is a Heisman Trophy winner. He broke the rookie touchdown passing record, which is only being approached by some of the NFL's best elite quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield has a rough start to 2019 and throw it all out the window. Forget everything else that Baker Mayfield has ever done on the football field, because I guess Baker Mayfield's a bust because he had a bad stretch of games. Lamar Jackson is somebody that I think gets it the worst, because Cam and Baker have personalities that you can at least understand where some of the hate comes from, why people can't wait to call these people overrated, regardless of if it's fair or not. Lamar gets hated on because simply his style of play. Nothing Lamar has ever done off the field has been newsworthy. You won't find a news clip about Lamar Jackson that's not positive, that's off the field. There's no video, there's no scandal. But as much as the media is praising him now, we can't forget that 8 weeks ago, they were not praising him. They sounded more like how Ravens fans think I sound. They sounded more like Lamar haters. They were skeptical, right? I said he's not the MVP. I still don't think he's the MVP. But as much as there's positive press, as much as everybody's throwing these positive praise out there for Lamar Jackson, let Lamar Jackson look bad against the 49ers, or let Lamar Jackson look bad in a playoff game, and then Raven fans, you'll suddenly watch this narrative change from a superstar who's changing the league to a guy that the league caught up with. It's not fair. It's not right, but it's gonna happen. This is not me hoping for anything. I think it's stupid that Lamar Jackson has to deal with the praise of him being so fickle by the national media. I'm somebody who always thought, even before this season, that Lamar was a Pro Bowler. He proved to be a little bit more. But the truth of the matter is that as many people who are willing to compare him to Michael Vick, as many people who are willing to say that this dude is doing stuff that nobody's ever seen before, there are a gang of people who can't wait for him to have his first 3-interception game or his first 4-interception game of the season. There are people who can't wait for Lamar to not look great in the passing game. There are people who can't wait to call Lamar Jackson overrated. Much like a lot of the people who clicked on this video thought I was going to say about Lamar Jackson. But see, that's where we get deeper into my points. Because I can hear some of you guys now, right? And you guys might attribute the harsh and erratic changes of what a QB is considered or if he's considered overrated and just say that comes with the territory of the position, right? But does it really? Not for everybody, because there's a lot of quarterbacks in NFL history who have gotten all kind of praise for being all kinds of pretty good. Because for every person who can't wait to tell you how bad Kirk Cousins is when he throws for 200 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Those people who can't wait to tell you how terrible of a contract is, who can't wait to tell you how he robbed the NFL, who can't wait to jump on that hot take train. There is also somebody who is willing to argue to the death about how great Eli Manning is, when realistically, the only difference between Kirk Cousins and Eli Manning is the teams that they were on and the games they happened to win. Seriously, let's look at the career per game numbers. An average Kirk Cousins game is 277 yards on 67% passing with 2 touchdowns and an interception and a quarterback rate of 97.1. See, that's not bad, but it's nothing that's going to make anybody argue that Kirk Cousins is suddenly a Hall of Famer. But let's look at somebody who people do make the argument for. Eli Manning, 241 yards, 60% passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception with a quarterback rate of 84.1. Eli is statistically equal to or less than Kirk Cousins in every major stat category when you average it out to a per game production. But yet, one of these quarterbacks gets a serious conversation about the Hall of Fame while the other one can't have a normal day on the field without people talking about how much money he gets paid. So does it come with the territory? Is every quarterback this heavily scrutinized on a week-to-week basis? No. But some people will make excuses for that because, of course, there are other factors in why people think and why ultimately Eli will make it into the Hall of Fame. Now, those factors are his 2 Super Bowl wins that happen to be over the New England Patriots of all teams. And also, let's really face one of the things that's really going to get Eli Manning into the Hall of Fame, and that is his last name. If Eli's last name were Davis and he played for the Chargers, we would not be having a Hall of Fame conversation about Eli. But see, Eli happened to be the right above average guy at the right place at the right time with the right last name. But again, it's interesting. 2 players, same statistical profile, but the narratives on them couldn't be more different. And this had me think, should wins and losses be so important when considering an individual award for a team game? Football is the ultimate team game, right? It's unlike basketball, where on any given day, a player can take a game over, or baseball, where a pitcher can have a dominant outing that carries a struggling offense. Those are games where one player can be all the impact to win the game, right? In basketball, all it takes is one player to get hot and make shots. In baseball, all it takes is one pitcher to throw nasty stuff. But football, even if a quarterback takes over a game, he still has to rely on the offensive line to protect him, the coach to call the right plays, and the receivers to execute those plays. So again, with that context, why do wins and losses matter to such a degree on an individual player's legacy? Let's look at the flip side of this coin, Carson Wentz. Now, Carson Wentz came into the league dominating, winning games, and putting up good numbers. And after those first 2 years, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl without him, mind you, it seems like he just hasn't been the same dude. Partly that's true, but the difference really isn't with his numbers. It's his win-loss record. Because he's 10-11 after he came back, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. Seems like Carson Wentz fell off the wagon. Because in those 22 games since the Eagles won the Super Bowl without him, average Carson Wentz game, 254 yards, 66% passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 97.1 QB rating. And if those numbers sound familiar, it should, because it's just a slightly worse version of Kirk Cousins' numbers. And as we established earlier, Kirk Cousins and Carson Wentz have better numbers than somebody who's considered to be a Hall of Famer. And again, when you look at the comparison between Carson Wentz and Kirk Cousins, understand that one of these players came into the year with MVP odds, and the other one came into this year with everybody in his pockets. There are so many nonsensical, non-football related things that go into the perception of a player. How tall or widely are they built? Do they smile enough or do they smile too much? We talk about these players' leadership ability as if anyone in a television studio has the proper vantage point to even judge that kind of thing. We form opinions about players on the field based on a soundbite they gave in the locker room. We let our perception of a player decide what stats are important, what accomplishments matter in a fickle player-to-player manner. When the reality is that any player can be under or overrated at this same exact time. Because if somebody is over or underrated really is not a matter of a fact or even opinion. It's a matter of perception. Lamar could throw for 35 touchdowns and run for 30 more on the ground. And because he had the audacity to run for 30 touchdowns, there are going to be people who perceive him as a running back. No matter how unfair that is, no matter how much he does, people are always going to tack on him for that and let him have a below average game through the air, and all of this will come out, right? Baker Mayfield could break all of Drew Brees' passing records, win tons of games, but because he handles himself in the media much differently than other quarterbacks, there will always be those who question his leadership ability at a moment's notice. No matter what Baker Mayfield does, people will always question that for the rest of his career, whether it's fair or not. Criticism is inescapable because it's not objective, no matter how many stats there are. These numbers exist to propel arguments, not to end them. Saying X QB is a bust 1 year into their career is a hot topic. Saying Y QB is overrated is a clickable video. These topics don't exist for a constructive reason. Not to say it's not easy to get caught up in them. I have plenty of times, but understand that there is no universal objective way to have the conversation of if somebody's overrated or not. There is no fairness in these conversations because they're subjective. That is why it doesn't matter who is over or underrated. Whether you think your guy's not getting enough love, that is your perspective of things. Whether you think somebody is getting too much love, that is your perspective of things. We get so caught up in who's over or underrated that we forget to just watch the stinking game. So the next time you're on Twitter and somebody wants to tell you that your favorite quarterback is overrated or that this guy on this team is underrated and he's better than your overrated guy, understand that entering into that argument is nonsensical. There's no winning it. There's no losing it. It's a nothing argument because everybody can be overrated and underrated at the exact same time. So I hope you took your time to stop your all caps rage in the comment section about what I did or didn't say about Lamar Jackson and actually have a conversation about what we consider over and underrated? Do some quarterbacks get much more scrutiny than others? Is there a reason Eli Manning gets the free pass when any other quarterback with his statistical profile wouldn't? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. My name's Quincy Carrier, and I am hilariously overrated. Just terribly overrated.